There's this quiet revolution happening right now in East Africa. It's all about tackling a problem it's probably sitting in a drawer in your house right now: electronic waste. A brand new blueprint is here, and it's set to completely change the game for how old electronics are handled across the entire region. I mean, really think about it. What happens to that old phone you upgraded from, or the laptop that just stopped working? Where does all that stuff actually go? It's a question we've all probably wondered about, and guess what? We finally have an official answer. And that answer comes in the form of this document right here, the Draft East African Standard 1314, or DEAS 1314. Now, this isn't just some boring piece of government paper. No, this is a full-blown, comprehensive plan for a safer and way more sustainable way to manage e-waste. And it's for everyone in the community. Okay, so before we dive into the solution, let's first get a real handle on the problem itself. What exactly are we talking about when we say e-waste? Well, the official definition is actually super broad, and for good reason. E-waste covers pretty much anything with a plug or a battery once it's hit the end of its life. We're talking everything from your toaster to your TV to complex IT gear. Basically, if you've decided to toss it and it's electronic, that's e-waste. And right at the heart of this new standard is one really clear mission. This isn't just about finding a place to dump our old gadgets, it's about managing the entire life cycle to make sure the nasty stuff inside them, we're talking lead, mercury, all that, doesn't end up poisoning our health or the environment. So what's really cool about this standard is that it doesn't just point the finger at one group. Instead, it creates this whole chain of responsibility. Everybody, from the company that made the device all the way down to you and me, has a part to play. It's a huge step towards what experts call a circular economy, where we actually reuse resources instead of just chucking them in a landfill. In that chain, it all starts right here, with the producer. And listen, this isn't just the big brand that actually built the device. Nope, it's anyone who introduces it into the market. That could be the manufacturer, sure, but also an importer or even an assembler. They are link number one. And who's at the other end of that chain, the final link? Well, that would be us. The consumers, the generators. If you're using electronics, and let's be real, who isn't, then you are officially part of this system. Doesn't matter if you're one person with a phone or a giant company with 1,000 computers, we're all in this together. So what does this all mean in practice? What does everyone actually have to do? Well, for producers, it's something called extended producer responsibility. Fancy term, but it just means they have to pay for and set up take-back programs and, teach all of us how to dispose of stuff properly. For us consumers, our job is a bit simpler, but it's absolutely crucial. Rule number one, don't just throw your electronics in the trash. You've got to get it to an authorized dealer or one of these take-back services and keep it separate from your regular household waste. All right, so let's follow the journey. You've done your part, you've dropped off your old device at the right spot. What happens next? Where does it go from there? Well, the standard lays out a very specific, very secure path. Okay, so the journey begins at a collection center. From there, a licensed transporter, and notice that word licensed, picks it up and takes it to a licensed dismantling or recycling facility. That word licensed is key. It means every single step is regulated. This is all about making sure it's handled safely and preventing that dangerous informal stuff, like people burning electronics in their backyards, which releases all sorts of toxic junk into the air. And they take this transport part really, really seriously. Just look at these rules. The vehicles have to be covered so nothing flies out. Fragile things like those old, bulky CRT monitors have to be strapped down so they don't break. Hazardous stuff like batteries, they get their own separate compartments. Even the drivers have to be trained on what to do in an emergency, like if there's a spill. So yeah, this is a whole lot more than just your average pickup and drop off. Okay, now for the really cool part. The magic, if you will. We're going inside the recycling factory. This is where your old gadgets get systematically taken apart and transformed from junk back into valuable, reusable materials. These modern recycling facilities are incredibly organized. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a hospital, but for electronics. You've got a triage and assessment zone for the initial checkup, weighing, and sorting. Then there's a super secure storage area for hazardous patients, like batteries and toners. And finally, a consolidation area where all the clean, healthy materials like metals and plastics get packaged up to start their new life. Everything has its proper place. And the sorting process itself, it's seriously high-tech. Picture this. The shredded e-waste is chugging along on conveyor belts, First, huge magnetic separators yank out all the iron and steel. Next, these things called eddy current separators grab the other metals, the non-ferrous ones, like aluminum and copper. And then, get this, optical sorters use light to separate different kinds of plastics by color and type. It's incredible. This isn't just waste disposal, it's really more like urban mining, pulling precious resources right out of our old gadgets. Now, with all this heavy-duty, advanced machinery flying around, it's obvious that worker safety has to be a top priority. And it is. The standard makes personal protective equipment, PPE, totally mandatory. We're talking the whole shebang: cut-resistant gloves, masks for breathing protection, safety goggles, protective overalls, and steel-toed boots. It's all about making sure the people doing this vital work are shielded from any and all hazards. All right, let's talk about the final and maybe most crucial step. We've pulled out all the valuable stuff, but what about the leftovers? What happens to the gunk that just can't be recycled? That stuff has a name: residual waste. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the filter dust from the shredders, it's the sludge from some of the chemical treatments, it's all the non-recoverable and often hazardous output that's left after all the good stuff has been taken out. And dealing with this? That's the final and probably the toughest challenge of all. But there's a very strict, very scientific process for handling it. Step 1, they test it. They run a chemical analysis to figure out exactly what hazards are in there. Step 2, they stabilize and solidify it. This basically means they treat the waste to lock up all those hazardous chemicals into a solid, inert block, so they can't leach out and contaminate anything. And only then, after it's been made safe, is it sent off for final disposal. And let's be super clear, when we say final disposal, we are not talking about just any old dump. No way. This is a high-tech, specially engineered landfill. These places are built with multiple super tough impermeable liners and sophisticated collection systems. The entire point is to completely contain the waste and protect our groundwater, not just for now, but for generations. Look, this whole system is incredibly well thought out, but it hinges on one thing: all of us doing our part. It just doesn't work otherwise. So what's your role in this new system? It's actually pretty simple. 1, don't, and I mean ever, throw e-waste in your regular garbage bin. 2, take a minute to return your old electronics to an official dealer or collection point. 3, if you're a business or just have a lot of stuff, keep records. And hey, number 4, just spread the word. Tell your friends and family about this so everyone knows how to do the right thing. So there you have it. This new standard is a really powerful blueprint for tackling a huge environmental challenge. It's so much more than just a plan for waste. It's a fundamental building block for a real circular economy, one where we see our old stuff not as trash, but as a resource. The blueprint is here, the plan is on the table. So the big question for all of us is, what's next for East Africa's circular economy?